I've got a special treat today. Poggers sent me a copy of Rescuing Robin Hood. This is a cooperative card game for 1 to 5 players, and it certainly looks like a blast. Why don't we get it out on the table and have a look? Rescuing Robin Hood is a fun little cooperative card game from Poggers. 1 to 5 players work together to rescue Robin Hood by launching daring raids on the Sheriff of Nottingham's forces over the course of 4 days, leading up to a siege on Sherwood Castle on day 5. It's exciting and requires quite a bit of strategy. Let's dive right in, starting with the box. The cover art is bright and inviting. You have the titular character Robin Hood smiling at you. You also see Little John, Maid Marian, and the stern-faced Sheriff of Nottingham. When we flip it over, we have standard fare for a board game. That is to say that we see some close-ups of what the cards look like, the tokens, as well as a brief description of what the gameplay is like and a little outline of the story. When we open it up, we have a nice sturdy organizer that has plenty of space to keep all of the cards nicely organized and stow all of the chips and game markers respectively. When we get into the actual game components, the cards are printed on a nice, heavy linen cardstock. The print quality is very sharp, and I gotta say, I even admire how precise the cuts are. If you've ever gotten a cheap set of cards where they sometimes don't always feel like they are printed center, or the cuts on the edges of the card, particularly these rounding corners, can be uneven and look really dumpy. These all look really top tier, very premium. And while I'm holding it in my hands, I want to point out they did a good job of including these guide cards, things that work through each one of the days so that you know the process and progress of your turns, as well as attribute and skill cards for you to reference to help you keep track of all of your characters' attributes and abilities, because it can be a little intimidating trying to memorize all of that right off the bat. And I do think it's really nice when games include cards like these for reference. Now, I have the game arranged in a single player format. This is on day 1. So as you'll see, a single player would start with a hand of 8 base villagers. Actually, all players, whether you're playing single or not, the first round they'll have 8 base villagers. These are villagers without any type of medallion on their card to indicate that they are a more valuable player. As players launch raids over the course of these 4 days against the Sheriff of Nottingham's men, they will rescue these more valuable villagers that they can then add to their forces as they refine their deck, building towards the final showdown at Nottingham Castle. Now, players will measure their strength through 4 attributes: wit, stealth, brawn, and jolliness. They will add all of these attributes up across their 4 cards and their leader card and keep track of them on this little tracker here that uses these colored wood cubes to help players keep track of how strong their forces are. Now, there are buffs that can be added. There are skills available such as scouting, prayer, and cookery. Cookery allows you to add 2 additional attribute points to any of the 3 offensive attributes. Prayer allows players to rearrange some of the sheriff's forces by moving the lead character up or down a row, and scouting allows players to turn over some of the face down cards and see what other forces the sheriff has in store before they launch their raid. Each one of their attributes, wit, stealth, and brawn, act differently in combat. Brawn is definitely more of a direct showdown where you're just seeing who has the most brawn, and whoever does win. Wit allows you to use a press your luck gameplay style where you increase the amount of wit that you're betting against in the hopes that you'll come out on top. And stealth allows you to very precisely target different characters or face down cards in your attack in the hopes of gaining an advantage over your foes. Now, this is a game that I thought was really intimidating at first. I'm not going to lie, when I was reading through this very robust and detailed rule book, which is 19 pages, so it can be a bit scary. However, this is beautifully printed. It's full color, full bleed, nice, thick stock, has tons of really nice visual guides. So They did everything they could in this rule book to make it easy on you. And so, like I said, the game might look intimidating at first, but actually playing it, in my opinion, was the easiest way to learn, because once you actually get everything into motion, it all clicks and makes sense. But as you're reading, and I find this with a lot of games, anytime you're reading the rule set for the first time and you've never even seen a game played, I can see where getting a big chunky rule book can be something that'll make people nervous. But this is one that was definitely very rewarding once I got the chance to get it out on the table. Now, you'll also notice I have this second book here. This is the character guide, and this gave me a giggle. They went through and wrote backstories for all of the characters featured on all of these cards, because not all of these characters are featured in the classic story of Robin Hood. Like, for instance, Rowan in Circles or Mosey Onover clearly are characters that were added in this game, but at least they have stories available. And I think adding lore to your game, even if you have like an established story like Robin Hood, if you're expanding and adding characters, that little attention to detail of adding the lore really made the game quite a bit more rewarding. I mean, I love the inserts on things like Candyland or 13 Dead End Drive, where the story has no impact on the gameplay whatsoever, but it just adds richness to the vibe, and I dig it. I'm all about getting really into your board game and the story behind your board game. In this instance, card game. I guess this is more card-based. Table game. This is a nice social cooperative experience, and because it's cooperative, and yeah, I mean, I normally go player versus player, but I gotta say, sometimes it's nice to not have anybody at the table feel uncomfortable about having to go up against another player. I know sometimes there's competitive anxiety on game night, and this is a perfect choice for people who would really rather work as a team as opposed to try to be the last person standing on the table. So I had a lot of fun. If you think that this looks like something that's attractive to you, I have a link in my description below to Poggers' website so you can check this out and their other great card game, Guns or Treasure. But I gotta say, when I was playing this, to get in the mood, I even played Robin Hood movies on my TV, just back to back, like the '73 Disney, Men in Tights, Costner. Actually, my favorite on-screen depiction of Robin Hood is still John Cleese in the movie Time Bandits. So I'm curious, who's your favorite on-screen depiction of Robin Hood? Why don't you comment below and let me know. Do you think that they would be able to assemble a strong enough merry band to go rescue Robin Hood in this game? Comment below, let me know. Thanks for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.